Hey everyone, welcome back to another off-meta deck series for OP13. Today we have Marshall D. Teach. Now, as most of you know, Teach was my main deck back in OP09, and he's really one of my favorite leaders up until now. You know, aside from currently Emu, since we're in OP13 over here, right? And I love Teach. I love the skill expression in Teach, and I think that he's actually more consistent than what other decks we think are consistent. So I think he's more consistent than the others, right? Just because of the stage, just because of his searchers, and just because of all the Blackbeard Pirates cards. And I remember at one point in time, I showed off my alternate art deck. You know, in my real life alternate art deck, I had my entire Marshall Teach decked out, right? Funny pun there, decked out. Like I said, one of my favorite leaders. So let's get right into this deck breakdown. And then after our matches today, I'll talk more in depth on Teach and just a couple other things that I've noticed since OP09 and in how Teach has changed since then, okay? So let's start off with a leader. It's a 5,000 power, 5 life leader whose ability is your on-play abilities don't activate. And activate main, you may trash one card from your hand, and if you do, until the end of your opponent's next turn, your opponent's on-play abilities don't activate. So it essentially shuts the entire game off for most people, right? A lot of leaders now, especially in OP13, rely on a bunch of their on-play abilities, and that's perfectly fine. Thank God that they created Teach. And notice that in the activate main, it's not once per turn. There's no limit to how many times you can trash a card, so you are able to fill up your trash to your heart's content using your ability. Into the cards, we have our first 2k, obviously the stronger. It's a 2k counter, 1 cost, activate main, trash 1 card from your hand and the character. And if you do, and your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, you can draw 1 card, then give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost for the turn. So it does replace itself if you do want to use it for the cost reduction, but most of the time it's used as a 2k counter. Next up, our first searcher of the deck is the 1 cost 1000 power Lafitte. Activate main, rest this character and one of your Dawn cards, so for a total of 2 Dawn. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 Blackbeard Pirates type card and put it into your hand. Then place the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck. Regular searcher, right? Next up is the 1 cost 2000 power, 2000 counter, Blocker Caribou, whose on play ability is trash 2 cards from your hand, but lucky for us, our leader ability doesn't allow us to use our on plays. So next up, we have the 2 cost, and I just want to mention one thing real quick. I'm finally caught up in the anime, and for those of you who are still watching the anime and don't want to be spoiled by it, skip this part like 5 seconds starting now. But I like that Caribou was an addition to Marshall D. Teach's deck because of the fact that right now in Egghead, he's asking to see Teach and hopefully join his crew. And so I thought that was really a good shout out there to the anime. Next up, we have our first body that allows us to KO characters. It's the Doc Q. It's a 2 cost 0 power, 1000 counter, activate main, rest the character. And most of these characters that are Blackbeard Pirates are leader locked to just Blackbeard Pirates, so I'm not gonna say those parts, but just remember that when you read these cards, okay? KO up to one of your opponent's cost 1 or lower characters, and then on KO, draw a card. So it does replace itself if you play it out and you KO one of their bodies and they attack into it, it does replace itself, okay? Next up is the bread and butter for this particular deck list, and it mainly revolves around this character. It's the 4 cost 5000 Jesus Burgess with 1000 counter, right? Whose ability is this character can't be KO'd by your opponent's effects. If your leader has a Blackbeard Pirates type, this character gets plus 1000 power for every 4 cards in your trash. Next up, we have the 5 cost 6000 power Van Augur, and he's used to reduce your opponent's cost. He has 1000 counter. Activate main, you may rest this character, and like I said, leader locked, right? Give one of your opponent's characters -3 cost for this turn, and just like the Doc Q, on KO, you draw a card, so it does replace itself too. Next up is the 5 cost 6000 power Kuzan. Now, this is one of my favorite cards in this deck, along with the blocker Kuzan, right? Which we'll get into in a bit. But anyways, it's the 5 cost 5000 power Kuzan. Character can't be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, so it's safe from that. And then its activate main is you trash the character, draw a card, and then play up to 1 Blackbeard Pirates type character card with a cost of 5 or less, other than Kuzan, of course, from your trash. Next up, we have the 6 cost 6000 power 1k counter blocker Kuzan. This came from starter deck 27, so it's one of the newer cards, new additions to this deck list. It's on KO. Play up to 1 Blackbeard Blackbeard Pirates type character card with a cost of 5 or less from your trash, rested. A cool thing you can do with this, which we'll talk more towards the end of the video, is play this 6 cost out. Then when you block on a final attack, you can bring out the 5 cost Kuzan, use it to attack, and then bring out like a Burgess or something, depending on what you have in your trash. And it's and it also replaces itself, right? Because you can draw a card. You draw a card first, of course, when you use the Kuzan's main, but it does replace itself. So it's really nice, really good blocker, really decent blocker to play out. Next up is our 10 cost, 12,000 power. Also, I'd like to say the bread and butter along with the Burgess, right, is the Martial D Teach blocker, whose activate main once per turn. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, this and the character was played this turn, meaning you can only use this main on the turn it was played. It's like a way to get around on play, right? And so up to one of your opponent's leader's effects are negated for the rest of the turn. All right, and that means completely negated. So if you negate a Roger, say at 5,000, right, say they're at, it wouldn't matter because Roger would get to 10 before you anyways. So, but say you were to negate his leader ability, he'd go to 7,000. Or say to Ace, if you do negate his ability, if you attack into his 6,000 power or more body and it gets KO'd or he takes damage, then he can't draw any cards. So it's really good counter to a lot of these decks that we're seeing. Then once you negated one of your opponent's leader's effects, you can negate one of your opponent's character's effects too. And that happens until the end of your opponent's next turn. Also, the character can't attack. So not only do you negate its effects, they also can't attack the following turn. Really good blocker. It reminds me of like the 10 Newgate, right? The 10 Whitebeards that we always see in Ace, but it's just this version of it. Getting into our events, we have the 1 cost Tempest Kick. Now this is really like actually I'll talk about it more towards the end, and I'll tell you what my thoughts on having Tempest Kick in this deck are. But it's a 1 cost main, draw a card, and after this, if your trash has 10 or more cards, you can give one of your opponent's characters -3 cost for the turn. Its trigger is KO up to one of your opponent's 3 cost or lower characters. Really decent. It's just too bad that the trigger only lets you hit a 3 cost or lower, especially in this meta. There's not a lot of like 3 cost bodies that you can hit, right? And so I don't know how I'll let you know how I feel about this card towards the end. Next up, we have our last and final searcher of the deck. Well, actually our second searcher, because our final searcher is the stage. But this is our 1 cost. This is My Age, whose main is look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal 1 Blackbeard Pirates type card other than this event, and then trash the rest. So a good way to fill up your trash for your Burgess. Its trigger is activate this card's main effect. All right, next up we have one of my newest favorite counters. It's the 2 cost Black Spiral. Its counter is nullify the effects of up to one of your opponent's leader characters and give them -4,000 power during this turn. It would have been awesome if they allowed us to give -4,000 power and nullify effects separately. That would have been so cool, but also at the same time, it would have been too overpowered, so I understand why they did it this way. Like, think about it. Nullify the effects of up to one of your opponent's leader or characters and give them -4,000 power during this turn. Say they attack into you and they have a rush body on board that they just played. If you give them -4,000 power and then nullify that character's effects, then they can't rush and attack with it. That would be too OP. But I'm just in dreamland here. Its trigger is nullify the effects of up to one of your opponent's leader or character during this turn. That's a good trigger right there if you get it from life, right? So anyways, next up we have another KO type of event, right? It's the 4 cost main. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, negate the effect of up to one of your opponent's characters during this turn. Then if that character has a cost of 4 or less, KO it. And it's not a base cost. As long as you reduce the cost of some of these bodies, you can hit it as long as it's 4 cost or less. Okay, and also, well, let me get to it in a bit, but the trigger is negate the effect of up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards during this turn. To get to what I was gonna say, this card really does hit a lot of good bodies in OP13. It hits Marco, so they're not able to draw 2. It hits Warcury in Emu, so that they're not able to draw. It hits just basically anything that has, it hits Burgess, its own Burgess, right? So it's good to have in the mirror. And this card is just really good in my opinion. I'm thinking of ramping this up to 4 and maybe this Black Spiral up, but we'll get to that. Next up is our final card, the 1 cost Full-Led, or as its actual translation, Hachinosu, I think, right? But it's Full-Led. Activate main, trash 1 card from your hand and rest the stage. Look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Blackbeard Pirates type card, and add it to your hand. Now, I remember when people were calling for bans for Full-Led and everyone was complaining about this, and now all of a sudden we have Emu's 7 cost stage. Where are those complainers now? it's not as bad, right? So full of lead is just it helps you become a more consistent deck. It allows you to get to your cards quicker. You're searching 3 deep every turn, and that's so good, especially because you're trashing cards at the same time, right? So really decent card here, decent stage I should say, and all in all a really good deck list. So I'll talk more about this deck towards the end of the after the matches that we will watch, and we'll go from there. So let's get into the first match here. Okay everyone, so for today I only have 3 matches for you, and I'm thinking of doing just 3 matches per OP13 off meta deck list, and that's because of the fact that I don't think Sabo is worth going over. Now hear me out, I know there's some Sabo players out there and I don't mean to diss you because the leader is good and it can compete. My only issue with it is the Roger, Emu, and Ace matchups are going to be more common, and so I'd much rather have those matchups shown here. I'd rather much have those matches showcased in my videos because they're going to be the most common leaders that you're going to be up against, just because of how popular they are and just because of how the East meta looks like, right? And so I'm thinking of just pumping it down to these 3 matches. That way it's also a shorter video, so we don't have to hassle you guys on time, right? If you do watch my videos, I appreciate it, and just so I don't have to hassle your time or take up more of your time, I think it's best if I just stick to 3. And if you disagree with that, let me know down below and I'll think it over and maybe I'll go back to adding Sabo matches, right? So like I said, up against this red purple Roger, in the first turn we took first from him, and I just recently learned that Roger loves to go second, so hear me out now. If you're listening to this, take second from Roger all the time, especially if you love going second, if your deck loves going second, because Roger now, it turns out he has a higher win percent going second than he does first, and I didn't realize that till like, you know, what are we, 2 months into OP13? Just remember that, okay? And what happened on our first turn, because we went first, we played out a This Is My Age, we took a Burgess from that. Next up, we passed it over, they did a Shanks search, right? From their Shanks search, they took a Douglas Bullet, played out another Shanks to search. Let me make sure, and took a Buggy, the 2k counter Buggy, right? Also that helps you ramp, but let me make sure this is 2 times speed perfect, and we draw into it This Is My Age, so we end up using it to do a search because there's nothing else we can play. We take the Black Spiral, attach the rest of our Dawn. Oh, that's a missed opportunity, but swing for 5. I think either way he would have taken, right? But I think also leaving 2 open for Black Spiral, it's too early. There's no reason to use Black Spiral right now. We go ahead and trash, use our leader ability, because why? Because we don't want Roger to ramp and hit 10 Dawn ASAP, okay? So we're shutting off his on plays instantly. Now the only way he can ramp is using his 1 cost event. So we go ahead, pitch the Shiryu blocker. Now I know what you're saying, the Shiryu blocker wasn't in the deck list that we just talked about, and that's because instead of Tempest Kick, I had 2 Shiryu blockers, so take that into account. The only difference is 2 Shiryu blockers instead of 2 Tempest Kick. So go ahead, we pass it over to him. He swings 7 into us after attaching 2 to his leader. He has 2 left. He uses the 1 cost event, which he has, ramps 1, and he's at 5 Dawn, so he passes it back to us. We play out the Kuzan, trash the Burgess for our leader ability just so we can bring out the Burgess, right? And swing 5. He takes, he's down to 3 life. We pass it back over. Notice our Burgess, because of our This Is My Ages, is already at plus 2000 power. And this is what you want to do, and I'll drive this point towards the end when we do the deck list breakdown. Your whole goal for this deck list is to bring out Burgess as fast as possible, save your Burgesses, and then drop down the 10 cost Teaches. That's basically it. Build your Burgesses and play down your Teaches. Now, the only time that'll change is if you're up against blue. Why? A lot of them still use Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, and Gravity Blade Raging Tiger can take out 2 of your Burgesses, and that's not something that you want. So during those matches, do only play 1 Burgess at a time. So we go ahead, pass it over to them. After doing our whole spiel, we did black hole them with our leader ability. Now they are at 6 Dawn. Let's see what they do here. They attach 1 more to their leaders. Attack for 7, we take. Notice we have 2 Katarinas also. Oh, also instead of another difference in the decks was instead of an extra Kuzan and there was another card, so it was a Kuzan and something else. So we only had 3 Kuzans in this deck, which I think I can show you towards the end, so don't worry about that. I'll show you that deck list towards the end. But this is running 2 Katarina Devons, and I think it's running more than that. We also do have a Tempest Kick in this one. I will have to show you for sure that deck list towards the end. Okay, go ahead, play out the 1 cost stage. Finally, we trash the Katarina Devon to search. We get the Kuzan. Good, that's what we needed, because then now we can trash the Burgess, bring out the Kuzan, use the Kuzan's ability to draw 1 more card, and then bring out the Burgess. So that's exactly what we do here. We trash the Burgess, bring out the Kuzan, bring out the Burgess, fix our hand up here. We should swing for 5 and then swing for 7. We -3 the bullet, swing for 5. And also, by the way, the reason why we did that Tempest Kick, I don't know if you guys noticed, it's because we draw an extra card, and allowing us to draw an extra card just works so well. So it replaces itself. It's not an extra card, right? But a different card than Tempest Kick, because we're not looking to just get rid of his bodies. Trash 1 just to make the Burgesses 8,000, and we should have done that sooner. And we couldn't even attack with the other Burgess, so it doesn't really matter. So perfect timing on the trash. That's why we did do that. So swing for 8. He took, pass it back over to him. He's finally at his 10 Dawn turn, but he still needs to attach 1 to his leader. He uses the Divine Departure, the 5 Dawn ability, right, to give -8,000 to our Burgess. That's completely fine because it's a 0 body now. He swings 2 with the Shanks. We take, nothing we can do about that. Attaches 3 to the Shanks, swings at us. We counter out with a 1k. He swings 8 at us. We take. Now we're down to 2 life. And we get a Burgess from draw. So perfect. We trash the Tempest Kick. We do get a This Is My Age. And after the This Is My Age, we get the Shiryu. We play out the Burgess, the Shiryu, swing 5 into the Shanks, and then swing 9 into leader. So 9 to 7. He should counter out, right? He does have the 1 cost event. Perfect. We trash the Black Hole for leader ability and pass it back over. He still has no 1 plays. That's perfectly fine. And that's perfect for us because he played the 10 cost promo Shanks. Notice how here I had to hover over it because I didn't really know what it did at first. 10 cost Shanks, for those of you who don't know, 12,000 power on play when attacking. Your opponent can't activate a blocker during this turn. And so that's decent. Like that's pretty crazy. It's basically a Roger, right? It just doesn't have rush. Go ahead. 6,000 us, we block out, get rid of the bullet. Cool, swing 7 into us. We end up taking for sure because we can't even counter out if we wanted to. We get the 10 cost beard, which is what we play out to block the Shanks and the leader ability. So boom, boom. There we go. Trash 1 for our leader ability to fill up the trash. And now our Burgesses are at 10k. Swing 5. Doesn't go through, of course. Swing 10, they take. Swing 10 again. They do end up countering out with a 2k. Perfect. Pass it back over. He's still Black Hole and their Shanks can't attack. So good for us. At this point in time, we do want another Blackbeard blocker, right? Swings 7 into us. He can't attack with anything else. He will have another rush body though. So we do block out with this one. We should have been more careful because he could play out the Shanks here and he doesn't end up. But imagine if he played out the 10 cost rush Shanks, he could have attacked into our Blackbeard 12 to 11. Granted, we have a 2k counter in our hand, 1k, but still. It's too risky. He swings 7 instead with the Searcher Shanks. We take. We're down to 0 life. And this is the last turn anyways. He does have a blocker. That's perfectly fine because guess what? We do have the ability to KO still, right? So I think here we use the stronger, trash a card, and trash this to draw a card. Get rid of the Shiryu, get -2, use the Black Hole, get rid of the blocker. Perfect. We attach the rest of our Dawn, swing for 10. He counters out. Another thing we should do though is fill up the rest of our trash just so our Burgess can hit 12k. So we do swing 11 at him. He takes. Swing 11 again. I think he just gives up right here because he only has 3k counter, right? So it was GG. Really quick match, essentially, right? That's basically how you want to play this deck. It's the bringing out the Burgesses, ramping them up to as strong as you can, and then playing out your 10 cost Blackbeards to be able to make yourself a stronghold. And it doesn't matter if you get to 1, 2, or 1 life because that's where you strive. Just don't ever go down to 0 nowadays. You used to could do that because Roger and this promo Shanks were few and far between. Like not a lot of people would run it, but now it is being run by almost every red deck, and unblockables are almost being run by basically everyone. And especially with the release of these upcoming OP14 leaders like Boa, Perfume Femur is also going to go up in price. So mark my words on that. Perfume Femur going to go up in price. Watch out for that. I'll actually make a YouTube post just to show you guys I know what the hell I'm talking about, right? So anyways, GG to our Red Purple Roger here. Let's go into the next match. Okay, everyone, we're up against Emu now. So we chose to go second. We took second from Emu, which I always say is the basically half the battle against this leader. So we chose to keep, I think we keep this, right? we did end up keeping this. They play out the Shalria on their turn. They do their search. They get a J. Garcia Saturn, a searcher basically. Trash the Shalria to draw one. We'll go ahead, play out the Full of Lead. I think we get rid of the Burgess here. Yep. In turn, we do get another Burgess, so perfect. Pass it back over. We have one Dawn open. They play another Shalria out. Actually, I'll talk about this towards the end, but I said this in another video. They're getting rid of Black's identity and turning him into trash recursion, which is now clearer than ever, because remember when Teach used to be a cost reducer type deck, he was basically a Lucci 2.0, right? Nowadays, he's built as a trash recursion deck. You got the 6 cost Kuzans, the 5 cost Kuzans to essentially keep bringing characters out from your trash. And that's how he's played nowadays. And that's what Black's identity is mainly going to be from now on. Mark my words on that too. Anyways, after he does the Shalria, he does his search. He gets the 5 Elders from his search. That's the 10 cost, right? Trashes the Shalria to do a draw, attaches 2 to his leader, swings at us for 7. We take. We do have the Shiryus here. We trash the Shiryu with the Full of Lead to get a Kuzan. Cool. We trash our Shiryu again for leader ability, swing 5. This is also the same deck list as the last one. So like I said, I'll show you guys this one towards the end of the video. But the one that I showed you at the beginning works just as well as this one. Actually, the one I showed you at the beginning is more consistent than this one I'm showing you. He goes ahead and counters out. We play out the Burgess because of that. Notice we don't even have 4 in our trash. So he swings 7 at us again. We take. After he swung 7 at us, he played out his Saturn to basically, I forget what he got there, but we then use our after he passes back over to us, we use our leader Full of Lead stage, to pitch the Van Augur to get a 6 cost Kuzan. That's perfectly fine. Notice we only have 4 in our trash right now. We pitch the Kuzan for leader ability, swing 5. He goes ahead and counters out again, swings 6. This time he takes. He's finally down to 3 life. Then we play out the 6 cost blocker. Perfect, because we know we can block out of one of his attacks. And if we do that, we can essentially bring out the Kuzan and then bring out another Burgess for free. So he attacks 6 into our Burgess. I think maybe we counter. I'm not really sure, because he does have a couple more attacks. We might have to let this go. Yep, we let it go. He has 3 Dawn left to play with. He goes ahead, swings 5 into us. We will block. I think we counter out of this, right? We don't want to go too low, yeah. And then now he should swing again, but we were just going to end up blocking anyways, whether it dies or not. So he doesn't even attack. Perfect. So we use the Full of Lead, get rid of the Kuzan, or we play the Kuzan, to bring out the Burgess. We haven't Full of Lead yet. And then we attach the rest of our leader, 8 into the Rush Nuzjuro, so he doesn't -2 our characters anymore, and he takes. We go ahead, pass it back over. Missed opportunity there. We forgot to actually use our leader ability. And we also forgot to use our Full of Lead to keep fixing our hand. And we do want to fix our hand here, so big mistake on our part. That's fine. We can always make a comeback. He swings 5 at us. We do counter out. We're checking his trash here just to make sure that we're aware of what's in there, and he does have enough to bring out that 10 cost next turn and bring out all 5, right? Because sometimes they don't hit it. They don't hit all 5, and so that's to your advantage. But anyways, he gets rid of the Stucci. I've noticed that not a lot of Emu decks nowadays run the Stucci, and that's because of the fact that you have a hard time finding the place to play him, right? But that's for a different video. Anyways, he plays out the Worker. He swings 5 at us. We block. He has 6 Dawn left. He plays out the Sabo blocker, right? So it's a really heavy defensive deck. We go ahead and play out the Teach to nullify Emu and nullify that Workery. We pitch for leader ability. Cool, we swing for 5. He blocks, we swing for 6 this time. And I think we go into the leader still. Perfect. He counters out with a 2k, swings 7 into his Sabo. I think he ends up getting rid of this because he used a 2k on himself, so we pass it back over. 5 into us. We take, we get a Full of Lead from life. Now his Workery can't do anything basically right now, but we do have another 10 cost each in hand, so good for us. Gets rid of his Searcher to get the Marcus Mars from hand, and now he's left with 9 Dawn, so he can still play out that 10 cost Elder if he can. He does play it out. Cool. Pitches it to bring out all 5. Maybe he only has 4 here. Maybe that's why we were checking his trash. He should have all 5 though, and he only has 4, so he's missing the Saint Jupiter, which is such to our advantage, right? He's missing the Jupiter, and so he's not his characters aren't 7,000 power, and that's perfect. Swing 7 into our Burgess. We end up blocking maybe, but we shouldn't because he can just swing 8 into it. So we do block. He swings 7 again. We take. Cool. Next up, we trash the Full of Lead to do a search. We get a 2k counter. We're checking our trash here. I think we use the... No, we should use the 10 cost teach, right? Yep. Get rid of the draw one. Yep, perfect. Trash one for leader ability. Get rid of the black hole. I think I would have kept the black hole, but that's fine. Swing 5 into Nizduro. He ends up getting rid of it, so instead we end up leaving it, right? Well, we do pass it over, so that's a... We had the possibility of swinging in with the Kuzan, but also he is attacking us a bunch of times, so it is nice to have that Kuzan so that when he does 6k swing at us, we can play out a decent body, so really smart there in hindsight. Okay, he gets the Warcury from his search, trashes the other two, swings 5 at us. We go ahead and counter out of this with a 1k. Cool. He trashes that to do another draw with his, so that's him using his leader ability, right? He swings 6 into us. We finally block here, bring out the Kuzan. Cool. I think we should have brought out the Burgess, to be honest, just because it's a bigger body. And granted, it does give us an extra draw, but still. So he does go ahead, swings 14, attaches the rest of his Dawn, and we give him 2k, 2k. Because he can't attack with his Warcury, right? And that's all his Dawn, so he's not playing anything else. Good on us. We do have another 10 cost teach from draw. We use it, and then we nullify the Warcury here. But first we swing for 5. He should block here, not counter. But he does counter. We bring out the Burgess here. Pitch for leader ability. But first we do make a swing at him. I think we should pitch for leader ability first. Yep, nullify. There we go. So perfect. Like I always say, sequencing is very important. So we did play the 10 cost teach out. We should also, after playing that 10 cost teach out, use our leader ability just to pump up the Burgess a little more. And granted, yeah, we can attack with him this turn, but still, it also blocks their on plays. So perfect. We swing 5 into him. He has 1 blocker, but it's nullified, so he can't even block with it. Gives us a 2k. There's that Jupiter. Swing 12 into his blocker. Cool. Swing 12 again, and he takes. He's down to 2 life, and we have 1 big blocker on board, and he's at 10 Dawn. We trash the stronger for leader ability finally, and there we go. We pass it back over. And I think, honestly, we should have just attacked into him instead of into his board. I don't know why we did that, but that's fine too. But unfortunately, we did lose a 10 cost blocker beard. So he goes ahead, plays out another Warcury with the rest of his cards. Tells me he didn't get his 10 cost Elder right. And it's also because of the fact, the reason why he doesn't have these cards is because we're delaying it. He has no on plays to use. He can't use his Searchers. He can't use his Shaorias. He can't use his Warcuries, right? And so essentially, not Warcuries, sorry, his Saturns. He can't use any of those, and so it makes his draw power null and void. The only way he can get more cards is from life and the Warcury blocker, but even then we're nullifying it, right? Anyways, go ahead. He passes it back to us. This is basically GG here. We pitch the 7 cost teach to bring out and get the Lafitte from it. We get the Kuzan here. Maybe the 6 cost blocker would be nice too, but that's fine. We do bring out the Kuzan, pitch it. We get another Kuzan from draw. This time we bring out I think we do get the Shiryu blocker just in case, right? But another Burgess wouldn't hurt either. And we do end up getting the 4 cost like I said. Anyways, we attach the rest of our Dawn to our leader, swing for 8. He counters that with a 4k, the never existed, right? We swing for 9. He finally blocks with the Warcury, draws 1, swing for 12 this time. He goes ahead and takes again, and we pass it back over, leaving us 2 blockers. And that's really nice. We're at 2 life. We're fairly healthy here. And now our Emu did get a lot of draw power from that, right? Not being able to nullify the Warcuries, but that's perfectly fine. He should have the 10 Elders by now, and that allows him to basically pump out all 5 bodies again. And guys, in the West, the more you play against Emu, the more you realize that this leader isn't as bad as you think. It really is easy to beat. It's not hard at all, and he just about gives up here. And the reason why is because he didn't get his 10 Elders. He becomes null and void if you're able to get rid of his draw power, and not just that, you're able to clear his board constantly. And so he basically, once he plays out his 10 cost, he only has like 2 attacks per turn. And then you keep getting rid of his bodies on board, then it just becomes an easier matchup the more you play against it. I'll just put it that way. And there was one of his 10 cost Elders in life as we speak. Anyways, look at his hand. He has 3 2k counters, 3 1ks. He didn't have a 10 cost. I don't know what else he could have done here. Maybe played out 2 Warcuries and then waited for next turn and try to survive. But really, there's nothing else he could have done. We would have swung with all our bodies on board and it would have been GG. So good game to our Emu here, and let's go into the final match. Okay, everyone, we're in our final match here. We chose to go second. We took second from Ace because Ace does love to go during that turn, right? And so we have a decent hand here. We did not mulligan into this. We did keep this. So we go ahead and play out the Lafitte to do a search. We take the Kuzan here, and then we trash for leader ability for sure. I think we should this early. And the reason why I say that, why we should this early, is because we don't want him to get any more extra cards. Luckily for us, he didn't do a search during his turn. And so that allows us to finally pitch for leader ability, cancel out every single way he can to gain more cards in his hand. Now the only way he can do it is from when we attack into his leader and he takes damage. Really important when going against Ace to cancel out every single way that he can draw, including using your black holes on his Marcos and everything else, okay? You do want to cancel away his draw power. We go ahead, pitch for leader ability, pass it to him. He attaches 3 to his leader, swings into our Lafitte. We take, obviously, we can't counter out of that. That'd be crazy. And he goes ahead and passes it back to us. So we're at 4 Dawn. We play out the stage finally. We trash the Burgess here to get the This Is My Age. No, we get the black hole. Okay. I think we're thinking next turn he has a Marco. And so it's nice to have that rather than not, right? But it wouldn't have been that bad if we got the other card too. So we have 3 Dawn here left to work with. We attach it and then swing at Ace for 8. He goes ahead and takes and draws an extra card. So perfect. We pass it back over to him after pitching for leader ability. We get rid of that Doc Q. Okay, now he's on his 5 Dawn turn. I think he plays out I don't even know if he plays anything out. I think he attaches to his leader and swings at us. Yeah, see, he attaches all 5, and I don't know if that's just what a lot of people tend to do if they've not played it against Blackbeard in a while. They tend to think that eventually I'll stop using my leader ability, but that's just not going to happen. And especially now with the support that Blackbeard has, it will never happen. Your on plays, just think of them as permanently gone. Not only do you have tons of draw power as Blackbeard, your cards replenish just as easy as like an Emu. So anyways, he passes it back to us after swinging big. We pitch the full lead from our life. I think we take the This Is My Age finally, yep. Just so we can fill our trash, right? We want to bring that Burgess out. We get the 10 cost from that This Is My Age. Play out the Van Augur here. I think we should play the Van Augur out here though, just so a body is on board. Yep, perfect. And then pitch I wouldn't be opposed to pitching a Teach, but I wouldn't be opposed to pitching a Tempest Kick. We do pitch the Kuzan though. I think that was not that good in hindsight. We do want to keep those blockers. So he does swing 8 into us after playing out the Yamato, right? Because it's an activate main that has rush. So he does swing for 8, we take. He swings for 7, we take. Notice we have no counter, and we're down to 2 life. And he has more cards than we do, but we're still perfectly fine in this position, okay? So we go ahead, we're on our 8 Dawn turn. We -3 the Yamato just so we can KO it, right? We think we can get a Doc Q there just so we can bring out another Van Augur and potentially get rid of it that way, but we don't. We use the 4 cost black hole instead, get rid of that Yamato, attach the rest maybe to our leader, or play out a Burgess here. Yep, play out a Burgess, and notice it's at plus 2000 already, so really good. We pitch the Van Augur for leader ability and pass it back. So he's on his 9 Dawn turn. He does, and this is what I'm talking about, right? Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. This ace is running it. Usually they only run Red Rock, and even then, like only one of those, right? They don't really use these events anymore, but here he uses it and gets rid of both our bodies, and that's perfectly fine. That's why you only play 1 Burgess out at a time, right? We still have 3 more coming. We go ahead. He attaches 2 to his leader, swings for 8. We take. All right. We do have the full lead stage used here. We check our trash just to see what's in it, and we play out the 10 cost Teach. Nothing really we can do here. 10 cost Teach. Nullify, nothing else we can do. It's nice to have those out, and notice it's also because we don't have Burgess and trash, so we can't play out that Kuzan. We're just gonna end up chaining these Teaches. He goes ahead, uses the 8 cost event to bring out a Tax Beard, but that doesn't work because there's no on plays. He does use it, the 8 cost event's ability though, to take a life and plus 2000, then plays out a blocker. Like I say, I think it's a mistake for you ace players to use that 8 cost event's ability to its extent. There's no reason for you to go down in life just for plus 2000 power for 1 turn. That's not gonna save you. So he passes it back to us. We play out the Tax Beard again. I mean, not the Tax Beard, the blocker Blackbeard, right? And then nullify his leader, and also nullify the Edward Newgate so it can't attack. From search, we do get the 6 cost Kuzan, swing for 12. He ends up blocking out of this. Pass it back to him, and here we forget to pitch. No, good. We did pitch the Kuzan, pass it back over. Never forget to pitch for leader ability. You don't want these aces to have on plays, okay? You just don't. And notice we have a black spiral in our hand, so we're looking really good. We are very defensive right now. We have a Kuzan coming, and we have a black spiral. So wait for what our opponent here is gonna do. I think he plays out a big, no, he attaches all 10 Dawn to his leader, swings 16. I don't know why he's playing like this, but you'd think he'd want to be playing out another 10 cost body, but like a blocker beard, right? That's fine. He swings 16 into our Teach. We can't get rid of it, so we take. We go ahead and swing, right? No, I think we should play out bodies first, but we do swing for 12. He counters out of this leader ability, and then like 3 2Ks, 2K, 2K, 1k. So he gives us 5k counter. Cool. Attach 1 to our leader, swing for 6. And that's because right now we're going to play the Kuzan blocker, the Caribou blocker, and leave Dawn up for our Black Spiral. And then we pitch the Kuzan for leader ability. Pass it back to him. We're basically going to go for game next turn. He only has 6 cards in hand, and this is our chance. Because remember, the Kuzan allows us to bring that Burgess out. I think we have a Burgess in trash at the very least. We should. And see now, either way, if he does swing into our Blackbeard, we can protect it really well. He's thinking here who he's going to swing into. He swings into us. We block with the Caribou. Cool. Now he's thinking what next to do. Swing 6 into us. We block because I don't think he has rush, right? So we bring out the Burgess. We still have that Black Spiral ready, so we're in a really good position to go for game next turn. He does bring out the Roger, swings at our Burgess, but notice we knew the math was good enough. We minus 4,000 it, we can save the Burgess. He didn't have any blockers, so that's too bad for him. We go for game now and he just gives up. That's basically GG to our ace. Notice he had another 8 cost event, a Jozu, Yamato, Garp search, and a Uta. I think a smarter play would have been to just do a search real quick, play out an Uta, and then, or even the Yamato, right? Just so you can fill your board. And look, if he would have done the Garp search, he would have had the new gate next. Play smarter, right? Here's what he could have done to essentially win this game. Use the Monkey D Garp, bring it out, save that Roger for next turn, because if he used the 8 cost event, he could have brought out the blocker gate from that search with the Garp and then had a blocker on board and basically go for game the next turn because he would have survived either way. But GG to our opponent here. It was a good game, good match, and so I hope you guys liked those matches. Like I said, we're not doing a Sabo match, so let's go right into the deck breakdown. Okay, everyone, we're right in the deck breakdown right now. The main difference in how Teach has changed since OP09, if we can get right into it, like I said at the beginning of the video. He went from being Lucci 2.0 to being a trash recursion type of deck. And that's because of the support that he got in the starter deck, which is that 6 cost Kuzan, right? Now you do have the ability to essentially basically bring bodies out from your trash constantly. That's with the 5 cost Kuzan and that's with the 6 cost Kuzan. And so instead of KOing your opponent's bodies, the only reason now that we KO your opponents is so that they don't get the benefits from those cards that we KO. That includes all their blockers, among other things, right? And so this deck is mainly centralized around being able to build up your Burgess, filling up your trash, constantly keeping up your leader ability so there's no on plays at all, and then towards the end bringing out your 10 cost blocker gates, blocker beards. And that's the main concept. Build Burgess, play out Burgess, play out Teach. And that's how it was, if you guys remember, in OP09 before we had like Kuzan, because Kuzan isn't even OP09, he was OP10, remember? During OP09, that was the type of deck that Blackbeard was. It was to build up Burgess. And so we're just back to that style of playing this deck. And let me tell you, because of the support, it's tons more fun now, right? Especially with how the meta is in OP13. It makes it so much more fun to be able to shut these new leaders' abilities off. And not just that, but make it less fun for them to not be able to play on plays, right? Anyways, I do think that, like I was saying, there is room to get rid of this Tempest Kick because you're rarely using this Tempest Kick for its ability on its own. You mainly use it to draw a card most of the time, at least that's where I see myself using it. That's how I've seen myself using it. And so I wouldn't mind getting rid of this to add like a Black Spiral and a Liberation, or a Black Hole, or like just something else, maybe 2 more 2Ks, like the Katarina Devon 2Ks. If we go over to the Blackbeard Pirates types, we do have the Katarina Devon, maybe even a 2-cost Vasco shot, right? Just for extra blockers. That's not bad at all. Maybe even back to the Shiryu, get rid of 2 of these for a Shiryu, or even a San Juan Wolf. But I think maybe the Shiryu would be a lot better, so get rid of these Tempest Kicks, add a Shiryu, or maybe even a Katarina Devon, because that's also a blocker. Also allows you to get hit by the Kuzans, right? Because it's a 5 cost. But Shiryu and San Juan Wolf can also be targeted by Kuzans. And maybe even a 7 cost, to be honest, Teach, just because sometimes these 10 cost beards aren't enough, and if you play this out and it gets KO'd, you can bring it back, especially if you trash it early on. So that's another way you can do this, and it does lead into being able to KO bodies. And so maybe if you do end up adding 2 of these, get rid of, say, I'm not sure what you'd get rid of in this instance. I do think that there is a way you can incorporate this in your deck though, because it does allow you to bring black cards from your trash to your hand. But I still love this better, right? It's just having the Tempest Kick. It's just having this Tempest Kick for the draw and maybe minusing cost, right? So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do love these Marshall D. Teach games. Like I said, he's one of my favorite decks in the entirety of One Piece. I think he's really fun. I think the skill expression is great. And if you can rock Blackbeard, you can do pretty good in the OP13 meta. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.